welcome back. We're coming to you live today with Memphis Jewish Home and Rehab, and we've got another special guest, Jay Lindy. He's past president and co-chair of the Capital Campaign. And anybody that doesn't know what a capital campaign is, that's for capital improvements. That means they need a large amount of cash, and they go out and get somebody that usually has never done it before, so they don't know what that means. And Jay is nodding his head vigorously because that's how they got me on one. And it was building a new playground for our church, and it was not a good economic time. At least it was a good economics period for us with this coming. But whenever you come and you ask people for money, it's a sensitive thing. But fortunately, you had a very good cause.
We had a good cause, and we had a great team of co-chairmen and board members and staff. Joel Ashner was fabulous, professional staff, and it was a quite an undertaking. And at first, it was daunting, but then it became a sort of a labor of love for everybody that was involved. And as I was telling you earlier, I've never been associated with a campaign where the contributors not only made a contribution gift, but then came back later in the process and wanted to give more. Particularly once a lot of people have seen what we've been doing here, once we got the project out of the ground and people could put their hands on some of the great stuff that we did here.
The good thing about it is you had a great reputation to work with, and you weren't walking in the doors and we're going to change everything about what we're doing.
Right.
We're going to become really a great organization.
Right. No,
you already were.
We had a great, we that was part of the challenge, because we had such a great reputation and we have such an excellent staff here. And some of the questions that we got at the beginning were, why do you need this? And when I got involved in the home, I was thinking about this when Joel asked me to come and talk. It was 20 years ago, and the environment was very different then. We were struggling financially to provide this level of service that the community expected the Memphis Jewish Home to provide. We had rehab facilities that were sort of a not necessarily an afterthought, but there wasn't really a professional rehab focus as part of the institution here. And so when I got involved, we were going through a lot of strategic planning, trying to figure out what we needed to have, where we needed to have it, where we even needed to be. And that really evolved 20 years to really this capital campaign and bringing in a state-of-the-art rehab facility to help us continue to provide this sort of excellent level of service, not just to our residents, but to the community, and to allow members of the community to actually use the home in a new way.
We were talking to Dr. Cohen, and he said this is the only 5-star home and rehab in this whole region.
It is.
And when you would go in, did most of the people have some familiarity with the Memphis Home and Rehab?
Yes. I think most of the people that we approached were supporters of the home in the past. We've had a number of fundraisers over the years that we used as sort of the base of donors. But this was different. This was a capital campaign. And it wasn't, we weren't asking for operational monies. We weren't asking to fund a gap because of what we had sometimes historically had where we didn't have enough money. And this was something that was a very different. I mean, I think the last capital campaign we had was when we built this new facility.
That we're in now.
And that was probably 1990.
Wow.
And they were able to build this facility without a mortgage.
Wow.
And that just shows you the strength of the community that supports the home. I call it the home. I'm kind of used to calling it the home. And it is a home. It really is a home, and we hope that Memphis it serves Memphis, it serves the community, and like what Dr. Cohen had said earlier, I mean, we're here for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they told me that only 20% of the population here on average is Jewish. Everybody else is every other denomination you can think of.
That is true. That is true, and that's why it's important to have the kind of facilities that the community needs, not just a part of the community, but the whole community.
Was part of your selling point was that nobody ever thinks they're going to need this for themselves or their families, but when you do, you want the very best.
Yes.
Was that part of what you were trying to convey?
Yes, and it's not just you, but your family wants it too. Mm-hmm. It really gets back to the whole notion of being the home. Mm-hmm. I mean, the home is where the family is, and whether it's an individual who's here or family that's here, we have multi-generational families that use the facility to do family events. They have celebrations here. They have birthday parties and everything
part of life.
The whole spectrum of life. I had my grandmother was here, in fact, recently, and she passed away about a year ago at 104.
Wow!
And just knowing that she was here, and she was being taken care of in a way that we all want to be taken care of. I mean, the staff here is unbelievable. The excellence of our reputation is only as good as the excellence in our staff, and we have an excellent staff here. It just permeates through everything, and we know that it's going to permeate through our new rehab facility as well.
When it's finished in August, it'll have a number of phases. There'll be more beds, so that everybody will have single rooms as opposed to having a double up. But it'll also have the rehab center with aquatics and the latest in rehab equipment. And we were talking to some of the people that run the rehab, and they said, if we need it, you go to Bobby. He says, if you need it, we'll get it.
That's true. That's the standard that we've all been held accountable for here, and we want it to be that way, and we're glad that the lay leadership of the home can provide that kind of support to Bobby and the professional staff, and that's very important to us.
Well, I know Dr. Cohen said that you went and looked at other places around the country to see what other things are being done, which I guess that's the only way you can find out whether or not what cutting edge is.
That is,
and because they can have salesmen can do you all day long, but you go, does it work?
Right.
So you really got to go to some places using what they're saying that they want you to buy,
and you want to make sure there's a need here for it. I mean, we started doing strategic studies 16 years ago, and the whole notion of what is needed in this continuum of care space has changed. We learned a whole lot of things. It took us a while, but we are very comfortable where we are and the decisions that we made, and we feel like what we come up with the new rehab center is sort of the ideal component that is going to continue the sort of the excellence that we strive for here.
I know I was at the Orpheum Theater working for Pat Halloran as Director of Development when they expanded the stage.
Right.
And he said, look, we're not just expanding the stage. We're preparing it for the next 100 years. Because we got to think not just can we get some of these huge productions in here now, but we got to be able to think of what can they come up with in the future, and we don't want to have to come in and gut this place again.
That's a big challenge.
So that had been part of your planning here?
Yeah, that's a big challenge. I mean, part of what we were traditionally as a nursing home was not going to be a sustainable model for providing the community the service that it needed in an aging facility, not an aging facility, but a facility that services the aging population. And not everyone needs a nursing home. A lot of people are now, aging at home in place. So
yeah, that's what I'm doing.
That's right. A lot of us are doing that. But there's a whole a group of businesses and support that have been created to help those people do that. And this is sort of a continuation of what we did have here, because rehab's becoming a very important part of what happens to you as you age, and you need to be able to go to a facility to rehab correctly and get the support that you need to go back home.
Well, and I mean, I found out after being here, I could have done my rehab after having bypass surgery here instead of Baptist.
Yes.
But I wasn't aware of it. But this is actually a lot closer to my house.
Okay. Well, yes.
So, not that I'm ever going back, but if I do.
Well, we're here for you.
I appreciate that.
Our doors are always open.
Well, Jay, thank you for taking some time to sit down and talk with us.
Thank you for doing this, and we appreciate you being out here, and this is a very vibrant place.
It is.
It is always alive here.
It is, and you can tell it. There is when you walk in places, I can tell, is it a flat line or is there a heartbeat? And there's definitely a heartbeat here.
A very joyous place to come to.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to check in with another person that's been very much involved with the redevelopment and the addition that's coming. So stay with us.